Good afternoon, everybody.
This is Caleb here with the Indiana Weather Network, Indiana Weather Online. We are live here this evening, or this afternoon here. We have a line of severe thunderstorms moving into the state of Indiana. We have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Should be hopefully able to hear me okay. There we go. I have an echo. I shouldn't have an echo. I don't hear an echo. Echo. Let me see if I can figure out where it is coming from. Running a new software today, so we gotta kind of play catch and mouse on where this echo is coming from. Bear with me. Try that. Do I have an echo now? I have like 3 voices. Try that. How do I sound now? I'm still echoing, says Jody. Try it now. I should be good on my end, I think. Let me know. A little better? A little better? A lot of better? Hopefully a lot of better? Better? All right. Perfect. Jen says I am good to go, so we're going to get going here. Sorry about that. Sometimes our software can be quite complicated on the back end of things, as trying to figure out where our audio is coming from. So, good deal. So we are live here this afternoon. We have a line of severe thunderstorms moving into the state of Indiana. Currently, the strongest storms are in northern Indiana. We have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. So currently, the strongest storms here are in northern Indiana. This is where the strongest portion of these storms are currently at this point in time. And where we expect most of the severe weather to occur is actually have a little bit of a greater risk across central and northern Indiana today versus southern Indiana. We do have quite a flood risk across central and southern Indiana along the I-70 corridor. These storms are going to be moving more right to left, so we have some training showers and thunderstorms from the Bloomington area all the way down to the St. Louis area. These are going to be moving along I-70 to the north and east today. Flood watch in effect for 10 hours for southwest Indiana. Severe thunderstorm watch for northern Indiana, central Indiana until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. Go ahead and talk about LaPorte County. This is a considerable severe thunderstorm warning, 70-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail for LaPorte County. And then down here to the south towards Monticello and Knox, we have a severe thunderstorm warning baseline, 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. Wind is going to be the main factor here today. Not a big hail setup today across Indiana, but we do have a pretty decent environment for straight-line winds. We have a lot of instability out there to support thunderstorms, but also we have some dry air aloft. That's going to help some evaporative cooling. and help mix some stronger winds down to the ground. New severe thunderstorm warning coming in for Clay Park and Vermilion County, as well as Vigo, until 1:45. That's down here in southwest Indiana. I do have a bit of a scratchy throat today, so if I do stop talking, that is why. Getting over a sinus cold from all the weather changes going on across the state. Severe thunderstorm warning for the Rockville area, Brazil, Indiana, Terre Haute, and Highland, Indiana area. This is 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-size hail. Go ahead and turning on our velocity. Let me try to toggle off this flood watch here. It is in my way here. Let's see here. Get that off there. There we go. Special weather statement areas to the north, and you can see some brighter pockets, some green there near the Elbridge, Illinois area, just southwest of Clinton, west of Terre Haute. Moving into the Sealyville area in Brazil, Indiana. The 60-mile-per-hour winds. These storms are currently moving east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So not very fast movers here today, but we do have quite a bit of straight line winds. You can see some brighter colors here in northern Indiana, northwest Indiana, specifically from Winnemac coming into Knox and LaPorte. Knox in Winnemac currently under a baseline severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-size hail. These storms are moving east at, looks like, 40 to 45 miles per hour as well. Expect damage to roof siding and trees. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, especially where you see the brighter greens from North Judson all the way down to Francisville, moving towards the Winnemac area, and eventually Knox. And we had some stronger winds reported in the LaPorte County area. The strongest winds, though, currently look to be just off to the north, perhaps going into Berrien County, Michigan. LaPorte County under a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for pockets of wind gusts mixing down perhaps up to 70 miles per hour and penny-size hail. So a little bit stronger up here to the north than what we have down towards the south. These storms are going to continue moving east across Indiana throughout the rest of the afternoon. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I'll go ahead and toggle that on here for you to show you where that severe thunderstorm watch is. Pretty much the entire LP of Michigan and then northern Indiana from I-70 and points northward. Every area that you see there in that pinkish brown under a severe thunderstorm watch. Scattered primary threats include, under the watch, scattered damaging wind gusts to 70 miles per hour likely, isolated large hail events up to 1.5 inches, as well as a tornado or two also possible. So can't rule out a spin-up tornado, but the primary hazard today is going to be straight line winds of 60 and perhaps embedded pockets up to 70 miles per hour. Cannot be ruled out. I do think the best chance for significant wind gusts would be northern Indiana and lower Michigan, right where you see the strongest area of convection. That's going to continue to move east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. And this area right up in here, northern Indiana and southern Michigan, I feel has the greatest threat for significant wind gusts at perhaps 60 plus miles per hour. We do expect gradual organization as this line continues to move east. The atmosphere is destabilizing across northern Indiana and southern Michigan as we speak. Go ahead and toggle that severe thunderstorm watch back off here for you. Make it look a little bit easier. Go ahead and toggle back on northern Indiana's radar here. And actually, let me show you guys something here real quick as we're waiting on the next scan here. Let me show you kind of what we're looking at here for the remainder of the evening here. So here you are right about now. You can see the line of showers and thunderstorms there across northern Indiana. And you can see a little bit more organized across northern Indiana, southwest lower Michigan, and we just see multiple rounds of storms across southern Indiana. This is where we have a flood watch in effect currently, and why there's a flood watch currently in effect, as we have multiple rounds today. Round 1 and then round 2 coming in later tonight. A little bit more uncertain on how strong this will be. More of a flood risk across southern Indiana versus a widespread damage and wind risk with this. Could be a little bit elevated, but we could have quite a few training showers and thunderstorms along the I-70 corridor associated with that. Going back to live radar here, currently the strongest storm is in northwest Indiana and LaPorte County. Considerable severe thunderstorm warning, 70-mile-per-hour winds, penny-size hail. This is moving east at 45 miles per hour. Currently South Bend, Plymouth, Marshall County, Elkhart. You guys are currently not in a severe thunderstorm warning. Have to see if we get a downstream warning on that here in a little bit. That'll be up to the National Weather Service to see what the intensity looks like as it approaches your vicinity. Moving back down south to the line, a little bit more disorganized the further south you go. Wind shear today is lacking the further south you go, and that's really going to be a limiting factor for these storms. So we have plenty of heat and humidity, but the wind shear is unidirectional. We don't really have a lot of speed shear, bulk shear to really get these things really organized as efficiently as what we could see if we had some better shear across southern Indiana. So a little bit of a limiting factor down there, but that is going to remain a flood risk in effect while we have a flood watch down here. Could still some gusty winds in effect here. Severe thunderstorm warning for Vermilion, Vigo, and Clay County, as well as Park County until 1:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Winds up to 60 miles per hour, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Does include Terre Haute, Brazil, Rockville, Newport, and Clinton, Indiana, and west central Indiana. I do think it'll be more of a sporadic wind gust threat down here across central Indiana, a little bit more widespread across northern Indiana, a little bit more organized the further north you go, especially north of 24. North of 24 is where we think widespread wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour plus have the best odds of occurring north of US 24 across northern Indiana. These storms are currently moving east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Strongest wind gusts. Let's go ahead and turn back on our velocity here. You can see some brighter colors there. Gust front coming into LaPorte, Indiana. Springfield seeing some winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. Strongest winds, though, within this box, currently over Lake Michigan, just north of New Buffalo Township, coming into Berrien County, Michigan. Have some strong winds up there, perhaps up to 70 miles per hour. Even though we're in a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for LaPorte County, I think we'll see embedded pockets, perhaps up to 70, but widespread 70-mile-per-hour winds. I don't think everyone is going to see winds reach 70 miles per hour in LaPorte County. 60 mile per hour, though, definitely not out of the question. Having some evaporative cooling along the leading edge, have some dry air aloft. That can cause some rain to evaporate in the middle of the cloud, and as it evaporates, that condensation cools. As it cools, cold air is denser than warm air, and that cold air begins to rapidly descend in the form of straight-line winds, and we can have a little bit more of a gusty thunderstorm along the leading edge. You can see some embedded pockets here, some brighter colors here coming into Knox, southern LaPorte County, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, especially where you see the brighter greens there. Kind of embedded pockets of wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, perhaps a little bit stronger. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on this one here. Yeah, right about 60 miles per hour. So 60 miles per hour at 4,000 feet is what we're measuring here. The radar beam does angle with distance thanks to the curvature of the Earth and also just the angle of the radar beam itself. So the further away you are, the higher you are in the cloud a little bit, but you can see some embedded pockets of winds 50 to 60 miles per hour up here by LaPorte. Looks like we're a little bit below severe criteria, at least on radar, but there could still be some stronger wind gusts mixing their way down to the ground in embedded pockets. Considerable severe thunderstorm warning for LaPorte County for 25 more minutes. Knox, Winamac, and Monticello, Indiana, under a baseline severe thunderstorm warning, 60 mile per hour winds, penny-size hail. The hail is not really a big concern today. We weren't really forecasting a large hail event. Damaging winds, primary hazard here today across Indiana. Highest risk for severe weather today, we do think it's going to be northern Indiana. We did actually increase the threat for damaging winds across northern Indiana in our latest severe thunderstorm outlook. We have a risk 3 across southwest lower Michigan, northern Indiana, primarily north of US 24 for this pocket of better organized severe thunderstorms across northern Indiana, which could easily mix down wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Perhaps a few embedded pockets up to 70 miles per hour cannot be ruled out. These storms are currently moving east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Probably going to see a downstream warning here for Plymouth and South Bend here pretty soon. You can see some brighter colors here showing up just to the south of Kingsford Heights and Knox, Indiana, northwest Indiana, just to the east of Valparaiso. Embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. This pocket up here, right around 61.5 at 3,000 or about 4,000 feet. So likely going to have some winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour mixing their way down to the ground as the storm continues to push east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. We do think most severe weather will be out of the state here by about supper time here tonight, but some heavy rain and thunderstorms are expected to continue into the overnight hours for central and southern Indiana. Flood watch in effect here. We're already starting to see some flood advisories showing up here as we have some training showers and thunderstorms. That'll be the story down there. Special weather statement coming in for Sullivan County. Winds up to 40 miles per hour. I do think the greatest risk for widespread severe thunderstorms here today of at least 60 miles per hour or greater is going to be north of US 24. Have a little bit better dynamics up there and a little bit more organized convection up there as well. And it looks like they are trimming this severe thunderstorm warning back, which is good news for the Monticello area. Currently not in a severe thunderstorm warning. Currently, the strongest storms here in Indiana are northwest Indiana, LaPorte County, as well as just areas just north of the Winnemac area, coming into Marshall County, and then South Bend as well. Gonna have to keep an eye on you guys. A little bit further south, a little bit more disorganized convection here today. This was kind of an uncertainty of the further south you go, how organized this convection would be able to get. And a lot of it has to do with our wind shear today. We don't have a lot of it. In fact, the better shear parameters are behind the rain across Illinois and Iowa. So we don't have a good overlap of wind shear here today, but we have plenty of instability, plenty of moisture. It doesn't, the minute you walk out the door, you can feel the air today. So plenty of moisture. So there's going to be heavy rainmakers. A little bit better dynamics up here across northern Indiana, we think has a better potential for widespread wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, primarily north of 24. Have some severe thunderstorm warnings up here. LaPorte County and a considerable severe thunderstorm warning, winds up to 70 miles per hour. I do think not everyone is going to see 70 miles per hour. We do have some embedded pockets of some stronger winds mixing their way down to the ground of about 60 miles per hour here, just south of Kingsford Heights, south of LaPorte, coming near the Walkerton area, and eventually perhaps South Bend, Indiana, and Plymouth, Indiana. 50 to 60 mile per hour winds heading in your direction there. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect for areas north of I-70 until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here today. You can see the risk here by the Storm Prediction Center. Areas in yellow, level 2 out of 5 here today. Slight risk for severe weather here today. Primary risk, damaging winds as the primary hazard. They can't rule out a spin-up tornado or small hail, but primary risk here today is going to be damaging winds. Up to 60, perhaps 70 miles per hour can't be ruled out in a couple of instances as well. This is straight line winds here today as a primary hazard. LaPorte County still under a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. Winds up to 70 miles per hour. I don't think everyone is going to see that. You can see some embedded pockets of winds, perhaps 60 miles per hour, perhaps maybe a little bit stronger. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on this here. Yeah, just over 60 miles per hour at about just under 4,000 feet aloft. So stronger winds mixing their way down to the ground, 50, 60 miles per hour near the Kingsford Heights, coming into the Walkerton area. Have to see if we get a downstream warning on that or not. That'll be up to the National Weather Service in northern Indiana. They did go ahead and trim this warning back. They left it a considerable warning for LaPorte County, Indiana. No downstream warning yet on this cell. Baseline severe thunderstorm warning, and this is for Pulaski County and Stark County until 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Perhaps a little bit of maybe some gusty winds on the cell outside of Logansport, Indiana. No special weather statement or anything on that at this point in time. We'll have to continue watching trends as this line progresses east here today on if it becomes better organized with eastward extent. We do expect gradual intensification, especially north of US 24. So we're going to have to watch northeast Indiana here this afternoon as this line continues to move east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Further south you go, flash flood risk along the I-70 corridor from St. Louis all the way to Indianapolis and points southward. Have a flood watch in effect here for multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Just a lot of rain coming along the I-70 corridor and points south. Some areas could see 1 to 2 inches of rain, perhaps a little bit more in isolated instances, heavier amounts and trading thunderstorms as well. No downstream warning on this yet. Have to see if we get one or not. Again, I don't think widespread 70-mile-per-hour winds are occurring. We're measuring at about 60 miles per hour at about 4,000 feet here just north of Knox. So there could be some stronger winds at perhaps 50 to 60-mile-per-hour winds mixing their way down to the ground coming into the Walkerton area. We'll have to see if we get a statement on that or if they're going to leave that the way it is. And there's our new severe thunderstorm warning here. 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. So they're going to go ahead and drop the considerable severe thunderstorm warning. They're going to let that expire, and they are replacing it with a baseline severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and penny-size hail. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for 31 more minutes for Vermilion, Vigo, Clay, Park County until 1:45 p.m. At 12:55, severe thunderstorms located along the line extending from Chrisman, 7 miles west of Terre Haute, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds. St. Joseph County and Marshall County, north central Indiana, under a severe thunderstorm warning until 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 1:12, severe thunderstorm was located over Coons Lake, or 10 miles northeast of Knox, moving east at 65 miles per hour. So picking up speed here across northern Indiana. Hazard 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, radar indicated. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Nice pocket of straight line winds here, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour coming into the Walkerton area. This is currently the strongest storm here in northern Indiana. And in Indiana as a whole, actually. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Even a little bit of a gusty shower or thunderstorm just northwest of Logansport, moving towards the Rochester area. Right in there. Winds perhaps up to 50 miles per hour coming near Royal Center, or just to the southeast of town. Nice pocket of winds up to 60 miles per hour just to the west of Walkerton. Coming into Walkerton right now. Probably going to split the Steuben County, Marshall County line. Going to move into northwestern Steuben County, or northeastern Steuben County, northwestern Marshall County, near the Walkerton area. St. Joseph County, southern St. Joseph County, have to watch this batch here. Perhaps heading towards the Mishawaka area, are getting pretty close to you. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this pocket right in here for the Mishawaka area, and even Elkhart County eventually as well. Get a measurement on that there. Currently measuring about 60, just over 60 miles per hour at about 3,000 feet. So likely getting some gusty winds mixing their way down to the ground, 50 to 60 miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm warning criteria is 58 miles per hour or greater, or quarter-size hail or greater. Currently, severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for Marshall County as well as St. Joseph County, Indiana. 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. These storms are moving east at about 65 miles per hour. They picked up speed across northern Indiana. Going back south here to west central Indiana, severe thunderstorm warning for the Terre Haute area, Rockville area, winds up to 60 miles per hour. And there's kind of an embedded pockets. I don't think everyone in this warning is going to see winds up to 60 miles per hour. Perhaps on the 30 to 60 mile per hour range. It's that much. There's some embedded pockets of some stronger winds, perhaps just south of Terre Haute, Brazil. There's one, and just south of Rockville, just a couple embedded pockets of some stronger winds, perhaps mixing their way down to the ground. Wouldn't be surprised to see that warning expire across west central Indiana, unless we see some intensification with that. Also watching some gusty winds just to the west or east of Royal Center, just northwest of Logansport, moving towards Fulton, Indiana. Have to keep an eye on that as well. Winds up about 50 miles per hour in that pocket there, coming near Fulton and Grass Creek, just southwest of Rochester, Indiana. Strong winds coming into the Walkerton area. This is currently the strongest pocket of winds here in the state of Indiana at this point in time. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour near the Kingsbury Fish and Wildlife area, coming into North Liberty, as well as Potato Creek State Park, also in line for this pocket of straight line winds. So if you have any campers up there, now's the time to put your awnings back and get to your safe place there at the campground. Designated storm shelter or bathroom or restroom facility there in the campground. So if you're in Potato Creek State Park, now's your time to get the shelter. Don't ride it out in your camper. You put yourself at risk for falling limbs and trees. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour for St. Joseph and Marshall County, Indiana. Storm motion is west at about 60 to 65 miles per hour. New special weather statement coming in right down here, southwest Indiana. Winds in excess of 40 miles per hour. This will impact portions of southeastern Vigo, Sullivan, Clay, Owen, Greene, and Putnam County through 1:45 p.m. They're in the blue, so below severe criteria, just to the south of our severe thunderstorm warning. Strongest winds just north of Clay City, just south of Centerport, moving towards the Bowling Green, Indiana area, Poland, Jordan, and Beamer. Nice pocket of winds there, up to 40 miles per hour. And I do think the winds are below 60 miles per hour in the severe thunderstorm warning from Rockville, Terre Haute, Clinton. It does, and there we go, just canceled, or they trimmed it back. Maybe they are leaving it there. I mean, there's some embedded pockets here, but getting the same reflectivity here on the special weather statement as I am the warning. So not 100% sure. There could be some stronger winds mixed their way down to the ground there, perhaps. Up here across northern Indiana, where the strongest storms are currently, also have to watch this pocket of winds just north of Royal Center, Indiana, coming into the Fulton area. Nice pocket of winds there, perhaps up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Coming into St. Joseph County, southern St. Joseph County, towards North Liberty, Potato Creek State Park, winds up to 50 to 60 miles per hour coming into town, measuring right around 60 miles per hour at about 3,000 feet, so likely getting some winds mixing their way down to the ground, upwards of 50 miles per hour, perhaps briefly gusting to 60. Near the North Liberty area and Walkerton area, coming into the Pine Station, Crumstown, Gilmer Park, Woodland, Wyatt, and Potato Creek State Park there in southern St. Joseph County. Marshall County under a severe thunderstorm warning as well for 60 mile per hour winds and penny-sized hail. Some embedded pockets of some stronger winds, perhaps near the Knox area, just to the east of town, along the leading edge. Strongest portion of the winds are just to the northwest. We're going to skirt extreme portions of northwest Marshall County, coming into St. Joseph County. These storms are moving east at about 60 miles per hour. They have picked up speed across northern Indiana. Go ahead and turning back on reflectivity. You can see a little bit more disorganized the further south you go. Kind of a new band starting to develop from Lebanon up to Logansport, Indiana. I have to watch this band as it moves east for any organization associated with it as well. Coming back down to the south, you can see a nice Also a nice line here from Cloverdale coming down to Jasonsville, Indiana as well. Warned for 40 miles per hour, statemented for 40 miles per hour associated with that cell there as well. Go ahead and turn back on our velocity here for our winds associated with this. See a nice pocket of straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour. In fact, we're getting right around 60 miles per hour at about just under 3,000 feet. So likely getting some stronger winds mixing their way down to the ground. Potato Creek State Park is right here. Also in line for some strong straight line winds associated with that. These storms are currently moving east at 65 miles per hour. Hazard 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Radar indicated. Damage expected to roof siding and trees. At 1:12 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located over Coons Lake, or 10 miles northeast of Knox, moving east at 65 miles per hour. It's for Joseph and Marshall County in north central Indiana until 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest level of your floor of a building. And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in now for Miami County up to Fulton County. Fulton County, Cass County, Miami, and southern Marshall County. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Expect damage to roof siding and trees. Includes Logansport, Rochester, Argos, Culver, Akron, Mexico, Wells, Walnut, Tippecanoe, Keweenaw, Erie, Denver, Fulton, Macy, and Deedsville under a severe thunderstorm warning. And this is until 2:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You can see some embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. I don't think everyone is going to see 60 miles per hour, but there's a potential for isolated pockets of wind gusts reaching perhaps 60 miles per hour. Strongest pocket coming into the Fulton County, Indiana, coming into Fulton actually, just to the west of town near Grass Creek, and getting some strong winds there. Right about 60, 59.3, right around 60 miles per hour at about 3,000 feet. So kind of baseline criteria there coming into the Fulton, Indiana area, just southwest of Rochester, under a severe thunderstorm warning. Straight line winds coming into North Liberty there, St. Joseph County, Indiana, coming to Pine Station, Potato Creek State Park, Crumstown, and eventually making its way towards South Bend and Mishawaka. Plymouth, you are also under a severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour. See, the wind gusts just increased a little bit there for Fulton County, coming into Fulton, as well as Logansport, Indiana, under a severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour. Moving back down to the south here, just south of Brazil, Indiana, just west of Brazil, have a nice pocket of winds there coming into the Sealyville area, just north of the airport, and just south of Center Point and Bowling Green, Indiana. Have a nice pocket of winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour there. Statemented for 40, but there could be a few gusts perhaps mixing their way down to the ground a little bit stronger than 40 miles per hour. And there, let's see a little bit of intensification there. Kind of borderline severe, but not quite severe right there. Looks to be just under severe criteria at this point in time. But we have some embedded pockets of winds up and down this line up to 60 miles per hour. Not everyone is going to see 60 miles per hour based on the current radar reflectivity, but we do have those embedded pockets of brighter colors where 60 winds up to 60 mile per hour are perhaps mixing their way down to the ground. These storms are currently moving east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour, a little bit stronger up here in northern Indiana, but they have looked to slow down just a bit, kind of perhaps closer to that 50 mile per hour mark versus 60 plus miles per hour. So some embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour currently ongoing here across northern Indiana. And we do have that severe thunderstorm watch also continuing until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. For winds up to 60, perhaps a few isolated gusts up to 70 miles per hour possible within the severe thunderstorm watch. Greatest potential north of US 24. Primary hazards here today are going to be straight line winds. Straight line winds are going to be the primary hazard here today. There is a low non-zero chance of a spin-up tornado, but damaging winds in the form of straight line winds are going to be your primary hazard here this afternoon. Currently, severe thunderstorm warnings here going from north to south. Looks like they are keeping this severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour. I don't see a lot of wind up to 60 miles per hour here, if I'm being honest with you. The strongest wind is actually in the special weather statement, just to the north of Clay City, Indiana, getting pretty close to severe criteria baseline. Between 55 and 59 miles per hour at about 3,000 feet. So there could be a few stronger wind gusts mixing their way down to the ground. This is near Center Point in Bowling Green, Indiana. Special weather statement for 40 miles per hour winds for those brighter pockets that you see there. I would honestly expect that severe thunderstorm warning to be canceled. The strongest storm is off to the east of our severe thunderstorm warning here. So if you're in Terre Haute, Indiana, you're likely going to see that warning expire here or just be canceled altogether, as the risk is further to the south and east now with that new line developing just to the south of Greencastle, Indiana, east of Brazil, coming into the Cloverdale area, and eventually Spencer, Indiana, and west central Indiana. Coming back up here to northern Indiana, have a few isolated thunderstorms starting to pop up ahead of this line. Strongest portion of the line here is across northwest Indiana, coming into St. Joseph County. Plymouth, Indiana, kind of getting split a little bit between the lines here. Still some gusty winds, some rain-cooled air mixing their way down to the ground. If I go ahead and turn back on velocity here for you, see a little bit of a gust front coming in there. Stronger winds coming into the Fulton, Indiana area. Winds up to 60 miles per hour there, associated with a little bit of a bow echo, a little bit of a kink in the line there. Some stronger winds being pulled down to the ground in the form of straight line winds, as well as this group of showers and thunderstorms in St. Joseph County, also mixing some stronger wind gusts down to the ground, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. These storms are currently moving east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. These storms are going to continue working their way across the state of Indiana. We do expect gradual weakening by the time it reaches the Ohio line. The greatest potential for organization is across northern Indiana, north of US 24. A little bit more shear, a little bit more organization up there, but we have a greater flood risk across central Indiana along the I-70 corridor and points south. There could be some heavy rainfall, training showers, and thunderstorms. Rainfall rates could exceed 1 inch per hour. We could see some 1 to 2 inch per hours in the core of these storms. We just have a lot of moisture to work with here today, so heavy rainfall rates are a definite today. Severe thunderstorm warning getting replaced with a special weather statement for winds up to 50 miles per hour. It does include Greencastle, Rochdale, Russellville, and Waveland, Indiana. It does include Ladoja, Indiana, as well, and New Market, just south of Crawfordsville, Indiana, along the I-70 corridor. Going back on and turning our winds on. See some brighter pockets of some wind there. Just to the east of Mansfield, Indiana, a little bit of a pocket there, as well as Clinton Falls. There's our severe thunderstorm warning. I was waiting for that. I was wondering when if that was going to get issued there. That's for this pocket right in here, coming into Center Point and Bowling Green. Winds up to 60 miles per hour and penny-size hail. Does include Cloverdale, Cataract, Bell Union, Mount Meridian, Fillmore, and Greencastle, Indiana, for 43 more minutes until 2:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's for Clay County, Owen County, and Putnam County west central Indiana. 131, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from 6 miles south of Brazil to 14 miles west of Spencer, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Hazard 60 mile per hour wind gusts and penny size hail. This includes Interstate 70 between mile markers 25 and 49. So this storm is moving currently northeast, and there's the cancellation of that severe thunderstorm warning for the Terre Haute, Indiana area. Currently, the strongest storm here in Indiana is actually coming into Fulton County, Indiana, coming into Green Oak, Fulton, and Big Hill. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour there. You see just kind of splotchy pockets of winds mixing their way down to the ground up to 60 miles per hour. Not everyone is going to see 60 mile per hour winds here today. Going to be those isolated pockets mixing their way down to the ground. But currently, the strongest winds do look to be in the Fulton County area, just south of Rochester, only by a couple miles south of Rochester. Between Fulton and Rochester, where you see the brighter greens here coming into Green Oak, Indiana, perhaps Akron, Indiana, Athens, Macy, and Big Hill coming into you right now. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on that. And yeah, right around 60 miles per hour at about 2,500 feet. So above the ground, likely going to see some winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour mixing their way down to the ground there. St. Joseph County still under a severe thunderstorm warning. However, if anybody's watching from South Bend, Indiana, let me know what your winds are doing. I really don't think winds are up to 60 miles per hour coming into the Mishawaka area. I just don't see that at this point in time, at least on radar. There could be some stuff mixing the way down to the ground, but it looks to be perhaps below severe criteria at this point in time up there. Let me know what you guys are seeing up there in northern Indiana, or really wherever you're at in the state. Love to know what your weather conditions are currently. Currently, right now, have a strong cell moving along the I-70 corridor just south of I-70 near Bowling Green, Indiana, getting impacted right now. Winds up to 60 miles per hour, and we are seeing that pocket of winds up to 60 miles per hour just above the surface. Just went through Bowling Green, going to come into the Poland area. Kegel Mill also in line for this severe thunderstorm as well. Cloverdale headed your way as well. Nice pocket of straight line winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour, mixing the way down to the ground. You can see the brighter reflectivity, the brighter the colors, the stronger the winds. And right where you see that pocket there, could have some winds up to 60 miles per hour, mixing their way down to the ground. Storm is currently moving east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour, with some embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. Is what we are seeing currently. Have 3 severe thunderstorm warnings currently in the state of Indiana. One in west central Indiana for some organization there that took place near the Greencastle area, down to the Clay City, Indiana area. Severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour winds along the I-70 corridor. Coming up here to the north, not a lot happening, though, in between. From Lebanon, Indiana to Howard County, Kokomo, Indiana. Not a lot going on. Still could see some winds perhaps up to 30 miles per hour. A little bit stronger up here if you go to northern Indiana. Also, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour from Logansport, Indiana, Miami County, up to St. Joseph County, Indiana. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. These storms are currently moving east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Coming down good in Clinton, says Lisa. Yeah, thanks for that report. Yeah, heavy rainfall across the state of Indiana, just heavy downpours. If you're not seeing wind today, you're probably going to see some big fat raindrops and some heavy downpours, especially along the I-70 corridor. You still have all this rain to go yet. Up here in northern Indiana, you're done when this line moves through. Not the case across central and southern Indiana, as we have back-building showers and thunderstorms with another round currently in Missouri that'll work its way into southern Indiana later tonight. So Evansville, Indiana, you're not getting it right now, but we're going to have to watch this batch of rain back here in Missouri is going to head your way as we go through in the evening hours here tonight. Whether or not it'll be severe, yet to be determined, but one thing that is certain is heavy rainfall rates of in excess of 1 inch per hour possible, and heavier downpours and thunderstorms associated with it. Lots of moisture to work with here today. And there could also be some blowing dust on the leading edge of these storms as well. Can't be ruled out. Our fields are quite dry across northern Indiana. A lot of them are worked from agricultural work going on, a lot of field work going on. A lot of our fields are just planted. So those fields that don't have crops established on them yet, those soils could be picked up by blowing winds along the leading edge. So you could have some blowing dust out there before the rain wets the soils behind that gust front. Not out of the question. Straight line winds is currently the only hazard here within these storms. No rotation or anything like that that is seen on radar. The tornado threat is not high today. I really personally don't expect any. You can't entirely rule out a spin-up tornado, but we don't really have the shear parameters needed for significant organization today or tornadoes today. We just don't have all those ingredients today. Especially the wind shear side of things. We just don't have the wind shear today. And that's a big limiting factor in how organized this line is going to be able to be, because we don't have the wind shear to really support robust organization today. If we had stronger wind shear, which is currently sitting behind this line, if that stronger wind shear, which is, let's say, Peoria, Illinois, was in Logansport, Indiana, we would perhaps have a little bit more robust organization today. But the better shear parameters are actually behind the rain versus in front of the rain, and that's a little bit of a limiting factor here today. But we do think the best chances for organization, though, are generally north of 24 for the long term. And then heavy rainfall threat along I-70 and south. Could still have an isolated strong thunderstorm down there, though. Can't be ruled out. Strong to severe wind gusts briefly up to 60 miles per hour. Currently in Fulton County, Indiana, just south of Rochester, coming into Green Oak, winds up to about 60 miles per hour. Get another measurement on that. We're about 60, just over 60 miles per hour at about 2,500 feet. So seeing some wind gusts of about 60 miles per hour, mixing the way down to the ground, coming into the Athens, Big Hill, impacting you right now, or should be lightening up. Green Oak, Wagner, and Akron, Indiana, all on deck for that pocket of winds up to 60 miles per hour. Coming back down to the south towards Mexico and Miami County, southern Miami County, Peru, and then you got Lewisburg as well, just to the east of Logansport. Pocket of winds 50 to 60 miles per hour, and another pocket of winds just north of Delphi, Indiana as well. So embedded pockets of winds up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. Not everyone is going to see widespread 60 mile per hour winds, but there's embedded pockets of where these stronger winds are coming down to the ground. And a little housekeeping rule. If you're using the chat today, please do not use all caps. That is a housekeeping rule. It looks like you're yelling, so please do not do that. Our chat bot will put you in a chat timeout if for repeated offenders there. That is an automated response there. So little housekeeping rule there. Like to chat needy and tidy, so please don't use all caps there in the chat. Nice pocket of straight line winds here from Tippecanoe down to Rochester and Mexico, Indiana, Miami County. Embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. And even 50 to 60 miles per hour from Mishawaka and south towards the Bourbon, Indiana area as well. Seeing those winds up to perhaps 50 to 60 miles per hour. Pouring rain in Mishawaka. Yeah, heavy rainfall rates here today. A lot of moisture to work with. You're also going to notice the air is probably going to cool off as these storms move over your location. You're going to see that humidity briefly go away, and it's probably going to feel pretty nice. Strong pockets of straight line winds. Eventually coming into the Warsaw area. Rochester, Indiana, coming into the Peru, Indiana area near Mexico in Miami County, central Miami County, seeing some stronger pockets of winds coming into town. Fulton County, eastern Fulton County, northern Miami County, also seeing some pockets of some strong winds mixing the way to the ground just southeast of Rochester, Indiana, near Big Hill in Athens, getting pretty close to the Akron, Indiana area. Likely going to see perhaps maybe a downstream warning or statement for that. We'll see what the National Weather Service wants to do, getting pretty close to the edge of their box there. Don't want to skip out on anybody coming back down along the I-70 corridor. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for 31 more minutes here. This is for eastern Clay County, northern Owen, southern Putnam County, west central Indiana till 2:15. Radar indicated 60 mile per hour wind gusts associated with this. Here you can see a brighter pocket there. Some stronger winds moving into the Cloverdale area. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Looks to go pretty much right into the Cloverdale area as well. I like how you just apologize for using all caps in all caps. Yeah, please don't use all caps. And there's our new severe thunderstorm warning. Just talking about that. And there we go. For Wabash County, as well as Kosciuszko County, central Indiana, till 2:30 p.m. 1:43 p.m. Severe thunderstorm was located near Akron, or near Rochester, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Hazard 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Expect damage to roof siding and trees. You can see these embedded pockets of 60 mile per hour winds. Not everyone is going to see 60 mile per hour winds, but we have plenty of those pockets of where those stronger winds are mixing their way down to the ground. This is currently the strongest storm here in Indiana besides near Cloverdale, Indiana. It looks like they did extend the warning for Elkhart County. It looks like they trimmed this one back in northern Elkhart County under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. Southern Elkhart County and northern Kosciuszko County, so Syracuse, Napanee, Benton, currently not in a severe thunderstorm warning. Have to watch these winds, though. They could intensify coming into the Napanee area. Still some gusty winds possible, but they look to be below severe criteria. If you're in central Miami County, eastern Fulton County, southeastern Marshall County, as well as central southern Kosciuszko County, northern Wabash, wherever you see these brighter, almost kind of a bluish, bright green looking dots, those are pockets of straight line winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. So we're going to have to keep an eye on these as they move east at about 45 miles per hour. Moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Locations impacted include Warsaw, Wabash, North Manchester, Wyona Lake, Akron, North Webster, Pierceton, Matone, Silver Lake, Etna Green, Rowan, Claypool, Largo, Sydney, Big Barbie Lake, Rigner Lake, Rich Valley, and Hoffman Lake under a severe thunderstorm warning for 44 more minutes, 60 mile per hour winds, and penny-size hail. Coming back down to the south here, gust front coming into the Cloverdale area. You can see the brighter greens right in here. Nice pocket of winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. Go ahead and turn back on reflectivity here. You can see the gust front get ready to come into the Cloverdale area right about now. You're going to see the rain pick up. And do watch out for any ponding or hydroplaning issues on I-70. Some heavy rainfall ongoing here. And that goes anywhere here in Indiana in any of these storms. Heavy rainfall associated with these as we have a lot of moisture to work with here today. Newest severe thunderstorm warning is for northern Elkhart County. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Currently nothing for northern Kosciuszko or southern Elkhart County, but we do have central and southern Kosciuszko County, northern Wabash County now under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. And that goes until 42 more minutes here in northern Indiana. These storms are moving off to the east at about 45 miles per hour. Notice they're very skinny. They're not a large storm, so you're going to see the winds pick up, and then they're going to die down fairly quickly as these storms come through. And then you're going to have some light rain on the backside here for a little bit. So embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. Go ahead and turn back into the Cloverdale, Indiana area. Severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour and penny-size hail. Coming back towards velocity there. Weakened a little bit. If I go ahead and hit play here, you can see how this pocket kind of evolved a little bit. There and intensified. Still hanging on there. Coming right towards Cloverdale, Indiana. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Special weather statement to the north. Winds up to 50 miles per hour. Though they look a little bit less than 50 at this point in time. So some good news there. Other areas currently not in any severe thunderstorm warnings. So Lebanon, Kokomo, Indiana, maybe some gusty winds up to 25, 30 miles per hour and heavy rain. That's about it for you guys at this point in time. Have to keep an eye on those lines and make sure nothing intensifies. Up here, just north of Peru, near the Mexico, Indiana area, getting some gusty winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour under a severe thunderstorm warning for 26 more minutes for 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-size hail. Same thing for Wabash County, North Manchester, Warsaw, southern and central Kosciuszko County. Nice pocket of straight line winds coming into the Matone area and Burkett, Indiana area. Go ahead and get a sample here. Measuring about 62, so just over 60 miles per hour, about 1,000 feet off the ground. So it's likely mixing down to the ground there, coming into the Mentone area and Burkett area as well. If you're in the Claypool area, Atwood, Warsaw, Indiana, be on the lookout for winds up to 60 miles per hour. These storms are currently moving east-northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So if you're out on the lakes here this afternoon, now's a good time to get your boats back to the dock, tie them up, and wait the storm out inside. Yeah, Lake Wawasee up here. A lot of lakes up in this area here. So any boaters out there, mariners out there, fishermen, now's a good time to get your boats back to shore. Nice pocket of winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour coming into the Warsaw area. Really nice pocket just north of the Mentone area as well, just north of Burkett. Likely seeing some winds protruding out at about 60 miles per hour. Maybe even a little bit of rotation there, just north of the Matone area, right in there. Have to keep an eye on that. But for right now, it looks more straight line winds, but have to keep an eye on that one. And we do have a new large severe thunderstorm warning. It does include the Indianapolis area for winds up to 60 mile per hour winds, penny-size hail for the storm currently coming into the Cloverdale area. So plenty of warning if you're in Indianapolis. You're probably about 45 minutes away, maybe a little bit less, 30 to 40 minutes away from seeing the winds come into you. The storm is currently moving northeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Winds up to 60 mile per hour and penny-size hail. Does include Marion County, Indiana. Nice pocket of winds coming into Kosciuszko County, just north of the Mentone area, coming into the Atwood area, just south of US 30. currently moving east at about 45 miles per hour. At 1:43 p.m., severe thunderstorms located near Akron, Indiana, or near Rochester, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Hazard 60 mile per hour wind gusts, radar indicated. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Wabash County, currently under a severe thunderstorm warning, winds up to 60 miles per hour. Still seeing a few pockets of winds, perhaps 50 to 60 miles per hour. It did weaken just a little bit there in central Monroe County there. You can see that right in there. A little bit weaker there, but still some gusty winds right in here. Currently, the strongest pocket of winds are near the Mentone area, central Kosciuszko County, coming into the Palestine area, Claypool, Warsaw. We have Winona Lake, Warsaw, and Worcester, and Pierceton under a severe thunderstorm warning. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. You can see the gust front still moving along. Some nice pocket of winds there just southwest of Atwood, moving towards Warsaw, Indiana. Likely going to see some 60 mile per hour winds in that bright pocket there. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. And we do have some storm damage reports coming into the South Bend area. Sounds like we have some trees down, and even a tree that fell on a vehicle by the storm in South Bend, Indiana. So we do have some damage reports starting to come in here from northern Indiana from these storms, causing some straight line wind damage across the region. If you have any storm damage or anything like that, let us know. Be happy to relay that information on to the National Weather Service if we can. Northern Elkhart County, don't want to forget anybody here. Currently under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour winds, penny-sized hail. The strongest winds, though, are off to your south, actually in neighboring county, Kosciuszko County. Could still see some stronger winds there. But it looks like the strongest winds are just to the south and Kosciuszko County. A little bit more disorganized in southern Elkhart County and even northern Kosciuszko County near Napanee, Bremen. A little bit more disorganized in that section of the line. Moving back down to the south, a little bit healthier of a looking line near the Greencastle area. Going to be coming into the Danville, Plainfield, and Indianapolis area. You can see some pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour, and torrential rainfall is also occurring within this storm, as well as hails up to penny size in diameter, 0.75 in diameter. Coming back up here to northern Indiana, still seeing some pockets of straight line winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. Miami County, Kosciuszko County, even Elkhart County, central and northern Elkhart County under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour winds. They do look to be a little bit weaker there for the Elkhart County side, a little bit more disorganized there. That's a good thing. Hopefully they don't re-intensify, but we're going to have to watch the line coming into the Warsaw, Indiana area, as it is a little bit stronger, a little bit more straight line winds there, up to 60 miles per hour. There you can see the latest update there. Still 60 mile per hour winds, penny-sized hail. The storm is moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour. We're going to come into the airport there, just north of Warsaw. Some stronger straight line winds associated with that. A little bit further south, still some embedded pockets of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, but not everyone is going to see that. But there still could be a few pockets mixing their way down to the ground. Here we are for Indianapolis, Danville, Mooresville, Indiana, and Brownsburg. Winds up to 60 mile per hour winds. You can see some pockets of stronger winds. Cloverdale, Indiana, and then just to the west of Groveland, Indiana, or coming into Groveland, Indiana, some stronger winds there, perhaps up to 50 miles per hour, with the strongest winds currently near Cloverdale, Indiana, moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and that is for Mooresville, Greenwood, Plainfield, Danville, Brownsburg, and downtown Indianapolis. Does not include Lawrence or Warren Park yet, or Fishers. We'll have to keep an eye on this storm as it continues to move off to the east. We're starting to see some pockets of some stronger winds. Mixing their way down to the ground. Currently, we have several severe thunderstorm warnings in the state of Indiana. Severe thunderstorm watch has been canceled for Northwest Indiana, including Gary, Indiana, no longer in a severe thunderstorm watch. Go ahead and toggle that on here just to show you where that severe thunderstorm watch currently is. All areas in pink currently under a severe thunderstorm watch, and that expires in 4 hours. And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Elkhart County, Indiana, and Kosciuszko County, Indiana, till 2:30 p.m. Hazard 60-mile-per-hour winds. Expires in 31 minutes. Storm moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. You can see some stronger winds just to the west of Warsaw, perhaps near the Atwood area, gusting pretty close to 60 miles per hour, coming close to the airport, Leesburg, Oswego, and Warsaw and Winona Lake. If you're in Northwest Indiana, I think Gary, Indiana, you guys are in the clear. Severe thunderstorm watch has been allowed to expire for those locations. Strong winds coming into the Leesburg area, just south of Milford. Nice pocket of winds there, up to 60 miles per hour. Coming back down to the south here, some embedded pockets of wind up to 60 miles per hour. You can see a little bit of a pocket there near the Board Park, Little Point, coming into Crown Center, Eminence, and Bell Union. Some nice pockets of straight line winds there along the leading edge. Even just south of Rochdale, nice little pocket there of some gusty winds, moving east at about 45 miles per hour. The next strongest pocket of winds is in Kosciuszko County, just to the west-northwest of Warsaw, Indiana. A couple of pockets up to 60 miles per hour. Going to be heading pretty close to the National Weather Service office as well in North Webster, so we're getting a pretty good look here. The winds that we see on radar here are likely going to be mixing their way down to the ground. Wouldn't be surprised to see some blowing dust on the leading edge of some of these storms as well, if they blow through an agricultural area with some loose soils or farm ground that has been worked or recently planted and is dry. So could have some blowing dust along the leading edge of these storms. Can't be ruled out. But seeing some of those gusty winds along the leading edge here in northern Indiana. Central Indiana, near the Plainfield, Indiana area. Or Cloverdale, Indiana area. Mooresville, Plainfield, Avon, Brownsburg, and downtown Indianapolis. Also under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. And that is for this one right in here. It does include the Danville area. You see a couple little pockets there. One near New Maysville. Coatesville is in a pocket. And one just to the east of Bell Union coming in to the Hall, Indiana area. A couple little embedded pockets of some stronger straight line winds there. All of these warnings are currently for straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour. These storms are moving east-northeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Not moving super fast here today, but we do have those embedded pockets of winds perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. But all severe thunderstorm warning currently are baseline severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and penny-sized hail or less. Cloverdale, Indiana, Greencastle, currently out of the warning. Strongest winds are off to your east, just heavy rain and lightning currently for you guys. Nice pocket of some straight line winds here just southeast of Rochdale, Indiana. Going to be moving towards North Salem, New Maysville, Groveland, Indiana, and eventually maybe the Liston and Pittsboro, Indiana areas as well. Going to keep an eye on that guy. Also have some stronger winds there along the leading edge near the Stylesville area as well. And perhaps even a little bit of rotation actually on the leading edge. Let's go ahead and switch to the radar right in here. There's actually a little bit of a couplet near Crown Center along the leading edge here. You can actually see a little bit of a hook echo as well. Right in there, a little bit of a hook coming in just north of Little Point, Indiana. So a little bit of some shallow broad rotation. Nothing that screams an imminent tornado or anything like that, but there is a little bit of a notch there. Worth keeping an eye on there. Just north of Little Point. Pretty close to the I-70 corridor, just north of I-70. South of Stylesburg. A small couplet there. Have to keep an eye on that. You can see it a little bit better right in there. Right in there. A little bit of a couplet starting to show up on the leading edge of the straight line wind. Moving towards the terminal radar here just southwest of Plainfield. If you were one of those people who are hoping for rain today, it looks like everyone is going to see at least some rain here today. That should help with some gardens and flowers that are planted. So we're going to move back up north here, switch gears a little bit, coming up here to northern Indiana. Strong winds coming into the Leesburg area. These winds are moving north, more so north now. Kind of shifted a little bit. Going to come near Shady Banks, Leesburg, and eventually maybe Lake Wawasee and Oakwood. Under severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour. Looks like it's going to be getting pretty gusty in the Leesburg area and Warsaw right about now. And our next severe thunderstorm warning to the south does include Indianapolis, Brownsburg, Danville, Plainfield, Clayton, Mooresville, and Stylesville under severe thunderstorm warning for 40 more minutes. 60 mile per hour winds and penny-sized hail are the occurring hazards within this storm. There's still a little bit of rotation, though, showing up just south of Stylesville, north of Little Point and Crown Center. It's very shallow in nature, very small in nature as well. Worth keeping an eye on. But looking at the airport radar, though, latest scan looks like they did pretty much take that out. So there's not a lot there anymore on the airport radar. You can see it's just not much there at all. Straight line winds here, up to 60 miles per hour. The going hazards here with this storm. Currently a nice pocket of straight line winds, 50 to 60 plus miles per hour, right in here in the Leesburg area. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Currently the strongest storm here in Indiana is coming into the North Webster area, Shady Banks, Oakwood Park, Syracuse, and Milford. Under a severe thunderstorm warning, winds up to 60 miles per hour and penny-sized hail. Nice pocket of straight line winds associated with that. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue for northern Elkhart County, but it looks like the winds are below severe criteria if you're in northern Elkhart County from Goshen, Elport, and Middlebury. Be curious to know if anybody's watching from northern Elkhart County, be curious to know what your winds are doing up there. They do look to be below severe criteria on radar. I'd be curious to know if that is occurring, or if perhaps winds are a bit stronger at the surface than what radar is showing us as well. Currently, not everyone is going to see winds up to 60 miles per hour, but we do have embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour across up and down this entire line from northern Indiana and then even central Indiana, seeing a few severe thunderstorm warnings as well. If you're in the central part of this line, think Tipton County, Kokomo, southern Miami County, you're currently not under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point in time. Still some gusty winds, though, possible in Howard County, Kokomo, maybe up to 30 miles per hour or so, but well below severe weather criteria. Looking off to the west, still some heavy rain on its way for central and southern Indiana. We do have a flood watch in effect for this area for quite some time, and that is to account for all this extra rainfall headed in your direction, moving over the same areas again and again as well. That is something worth noting as well, is the flood risk here this evening along the I-70 corridor in areas south. Lots of moisture to work with here today across the state of Indiana. Looks like they did trim the Greencastle warning back just a little bit. Winds up to 60 mile per hour. And penny size sail, going back and turning on our winds again, just look at our velocity. You can see the gust front coming into the Danville area and Clayton area, stretching from about the Pittsboro area all the way down to about the Hall, Indiana area. You can see that line there, a brighter greens. That is your gust front. That is moving east at about 45 miles per hour. You're going to be coming into the Plainfield area probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Now's a good time to finish picking up any outdoor cushions you may have or anything loose that you want to get secured before the storm moves in. Coming back up here to northern Indiana, still some isolated pockets of some stronger winds, all of which are up to 60 miles per hour. We're going to get a good look at the leading edge here of this line as it moves over the National Weather Service's office in northern Indiana. Now, this is their radar site, KIWX. This is the actual NWS office. And there's our downstream warning now. 60 mile per hour winds. And this is for Noble and Whitley County till 3:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 2:09, severe thunderstorm is located near North Webster or near Winona Lake, moving northeast to 45 miles per hour. Hazard, 60 mile per hour wind gusts, radar indicated. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. And there's our downstream severe thunderstorm warning. It does not include Fort Wayne or Huntington at this point in time, but this is Whitley County, as well as Noble County, with storm motions moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. You can see some brighter green pockets within the line. From North Manchester, Warsaw has one, and areas just to the north, southwest of Syracuse. You can see those anywhere you see those brighter greens, those are going to be your stronger winds. Winds up to 60 miles per hour within those pockets. Not everyone's going to see it, but if you find yourself in one of those pockets, definitely on deck for winds up to 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Before we get too carried away, I do want to shout out our sponsor for our severe weather coverage here today, Rutgers Outdoor Services, based in Indianapolis. If you have any trees you want to get cut down or even trimmed before the next storm hits, trees can be problematic. They can cause damage and be a liability as well. If you have any trees that concern you, give Rutgers Outdoor Services a call, 317-665-3969, proudly serving the Indianapolis area. Thank you for them for sponsoring our live stream here today. See, kind of four individual pockets of straight line winds here. They got one just southwest of Syracuse. Warsaw has one just to the south, and then just to the northwest of North Manchester, those bright green dots. Those are pockets of some straighter or stronger straight line winds associated with this storm as it trucks to the east at about 45 miles per hour. And do watch out for flash flooding, though, especially in south central Indiana. Anywhere in this corridor right in here. Let me get radar pulled back up here. And I'll hit play and I'll show you what I mean. These storms are going to be moving over the same areas again and again. Right along the I-70 corridor actually has the highest risk for flash flooding, and that's where we're going to see rainfall amounts anywhere between 1 to 2 inches in some isolated areas. So heavy rainfall rates up to perhaps even over 1 inch an hour, perhaps 2 inches per hour in those heavier downpours. But very, very heavy rainfall rate today. Very juicy storms moving into Indiana. So if you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning, you're not going to see the winds. You are going to see some heavy downpours with these storms and some frequent lightning as well. But if you're in the I-70 corridor, just some heavy rain moving across southern Illinois, Mount Vernon, Effingham, Illinois, Carlisle, moving your way towards the Princeton, Jasper area. If you're in southern Indiana, south of I-70, do watch out for flooding here today. We do have flood watches in effect across much of central or southern Indiana along the I-70 corridor, so do watch out for some heavy rain. There's a flood advisory coming in, and this is from Terre Haute, Indiana, up to Greencastle, Indiana. A flood advisory, so do watch out for ponding on area back roads. This is for Greene County, Sullivan, Clay, Owen, and Putnam County, West Central Indiana, and Vigo County. So anyway, we're just talking about flooding, and there it is. Not surprised to see that at all. Between 1/2 inch and 2 inches of rain have already fallen, additional amounts of 1/2 or 2 inches, so perhaps some areas could see locally up to 4 inches of rain. Some locations could experience flooding, include Terre Haute, Greencastle, Brazil, Sullivan, West Terre Haute, Jasonville, Cloverdale, Shelburne, Perrington, Prairie Creek, Farmersburg, Rochdale, Fairbanks, and Carlisle. Turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles from not heeding those advice and driving through flooded roadways. New severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for LaGrange County, Indiana. And this is until 45 more minutes, or until 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Winds up to 60-mile-per-hour winds. Movement is northeast at 45 miles per hour. Notice how this line is more vertical now as well. It's not as bowed out as what we once saw a little bit earlier. Let's go ahead and turn back on our velocity here. Not a lot has changed other than winds are maybe a little bit weaker, though, for Wabash County from North Manchester to Wabash. Anybody watching from Wabash or North Manchester? I'd love to know what the winds are doing in your location there. On radar, they look to be kind of around the 30-mile-per-hour mark, but I'm wondering if they're a little bit stronger than that, or perhaps below severe criteria, which is my hunch for that location there. Let me know what you guys see there. The last damage report we had from these storms was actually in South Bend, Indiana. Sounds like a tree fell on a vehicle there in the South Bend area. Unknown if it was occupied or if it was sitting on the side of the road. It doesn't tell that in the report. But the winds have been strong enough on occasion to knock down some trees. So do keep that in mind. Severe thunderstorm warning for Whitley County all the way up to LaGrange, Indiana. 60-mile-per-hour winds. Penny-size hail. Wabash County under severe thunderstorm warning for the same, 60 and Penny. Coming back down to the south here, and you can see a decent gust front coming into the Clayton area and Brownsburg, Indiana. Danville, you're in it. Winds up to 50 miles per hour, or 60 miles per hour there. Expect damage to roof, siding, and trees. Interstate 70 between mile markers 50 and 85, and 74 between mile markers 57 and 73 are under that severe thunderstorm warning. Back up here to the north, looks like they trimmed the warning back for Warsaw, Indiana, and Kosciuszko County, Indiana. Miami County, currently no longer in a severe thunderstorm warning. They've taken you out of it. This is radar indicated penny-size hail and winds up to 60 miles per hour. Go ahead and turn back on reflectivity here. See a nice line of showers and thunderstorms extending all the way from about Grand Rapids, Michigan, all the way down to about Farmington, Illinois. Just a big curving complex here associated with our frontal system, which will be moving through the region. Currently, all of our warnings in the state of Indiana are for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. Although I'm not super concerned about the hail risk here today, it does seem to be a little bit lower than the wind risk here today across Indiana. A little bit better ingredients for straight line winds versus hail today in the state of Indiana. Also, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning associated with these thunderstorms as well. Currently, no severe thunderstorm warnings from Tipton, Howard County, and Miami County. Kokomo currently not in a severe thunderstorm warning. Just a heavy thunderstorm for you. Perhaps some gusty winds, maybe to 30 miles per hour, but sub-severe for Kokomo, Indiana, and Tipton County. Kind of getting split a little bit for areas right in there. Going back and turning on our winds here, just to look at our velocity here, the movement of the wind within our storms. Still kind of seeing some embedded pockets of some gusty winds here. Not as many pockets as what we saw about 10 minutes ago, which is a good thing. If I hit play here, you can see we had much more pockets right in here from Fulton County, Miami County, and then as we moved into Wabash County, Kosciuszko County, not as many pockets here, which is some good news here. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning, though, from Whitley County up to LaGrange County. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Indianapolis still under a severe thunderstorm warning. And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in. And this is for Huntington County. Huntington County, small little warning for you. 60 mile per hour winds and penny-size hail. Sylvia says, heavy rain, wind, and thunder and lightning in Whitestown, Indiana. Yeah, thank you for that report. Is anyone watching have any wind damage or anything from these storms here today? We do have one storm report out of South Bend, Indiana, from a tree vehicle incident where a tree may have fallen on a vehicle there. No word if it was parked on the street or if it was driving. That information is not known, but sounds like the winds have been strong enough to knock down an occasional tree or two across Indiana today. But still kind of seeing those embedded pockets of bursts of wind up to 60 miles per hour. Not everyone in these boxes is going to see straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour, but the potential is there for it as you have these spotty pockets of where the wind's being pulled down to the ground and mixing their way down to the surface. Winds up to 60 miles per hour from Huntington County all the way to LaGrange County for isolated pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. Probably a decent shelf cloud, perhaps on the leading edge of these storms. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. Flood advisory in effect from Sullivan County all the way to Greencastle, Indiana. Rainfall amounts up to a couple inches have already fallen, and an additional half inch to 2 inches of rain possible. So some areas could perhaps see up to 4 inches of rain for some of these areas as well. Just torrential rainfall ongoing here. Definitely not out of the woods yet. So flash flood risk and just hydrologic concerns. Definitely a concern from I-70 and south. Special weather statement. A very small special weather statement. One of the smallest I've seen issued. Kind of right on the edge of Indianapolis's territory here. Howard County, Indiana. And extreme portions of northern Tipton under a special weather statement for winds up to 40 miles per hour. So some gusty winds coming into Kokomo and Greentown, Indiana. Likely in Kokomo right now are just getting ready to light up. I'd be curious to know how strong those winds were. You can see a little bit of a gust front right in there. Perhaps some gusty winds mixing their way down to the ground. Perhaps. Maybe being generous there. But you see a little bit of color there. And up here in Albion, Indiana, LaGrange, Indiana, Ligonier, just to the west of Cromwell, you can see some stronger winds coming into Cromwell as well as Grismore. Have a nice pocket of straight line winds coming into your location as well. Sipshewana also getting in on some straight line winds, moving into town under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. Moving back south towards the line, gusty winds moving into the Plainfield area, Avon and Clearmount, Indiana areas, including Speedway, getting pretty close to the airport there. You can see your gust front right in here. Some decent winds from Plainfield down to Friendswood and Mooresville, also included in that severe thunderstorm warning. If you're back in Stylesville, Clayton, Danville, conditions should be lightening up for you. It should just be down to rain and maybe some thunder. But the severe weather risk should be done for you for now. We'll have to keep an eye on things again tomorrow afternoon across the state, but still quite a bit of uncertainty with tomorrow's round. A lot of that will be dependent on how rain overnight tonight influences the day tomorrow. So kind of a wait and see scenario. How do we destabilize in correlation with the cold front and timing of everything tomorrow? So a little bit more of uncertainty here tomorrow. But these storms are currently moving across northeast Indiana at about 45 miles per hour, and then central Indiana at about 45 miles per hour. Embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. Go ahead and talk on. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch still in effect until about 6 o'clock here tonight. You can see areas across western Indiana currently not in a severe thunderstorm watch. So if you're in Vermilion County, Rockville, Crawfordsville, Lafayette, all the way up to Valparaiso and Gary, currently not in a severe thunderstorm watch. They allowed that to be canceled. But areas in pink downstream under that severe thunderstorm watch includes pretty much the entire lower peninsula of Michigan versus along from Ludington to Muskegon across the shores of Lake Michigan there. But a big severe thunderstorm watch winds up to 60 miles per hour. Possible over the next few hours here as these storms continue to move east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. A little bit ahead of schedule, but pretty close to where we thought they'd be at by about right now. Getting a little bit better organized here in the Wabash County, Huntington County area. Have to watch that a little bit as well. Turn on our velocity here with this. Nothing super significant in this line, but there could be some isolated pockets of wind up to 60 miles per hour. You can see the gust front coming in the Cromwell right now. Ligonier, Kimball, Topeka also getting in on that gust front across northern Indiana. Columbia City getting pretty close to you, as is Huntington. Have a couple pockets of straight line winds just to the west of Sims, Indiana, so there could be a few, sporadic gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour still mixing their way down to the ground. If you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning or see severe thunderstorm today, you're probably going to see some big fat raindrops regardless of where you're at in Indiana at some point here today. But if this line has passed through your location north of I-70, you're in the clear. South of I-70, still waiting on the southern portion of this line to move on in. So if you're south of this, while the severe weather risk is low across southern Indiana, the flood risk could still have some gusty winds. We think they'll be below severe criteria. Think Vincennes, Jasper, Louisville, Evansville. But we do have quite a lot of activity here, just heavy rain. It's going to be the bigger story here across central and southern Indiana. We do have our severe thunderstorm starting to move in closer to the airport and 465. If we turn on our winds here, you can see the winds coming pretty close to the airport here, coming into the airport right now. Next up is Speedway and then downtown Indianapolis. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. We're going to get some really good measurements here as it moves over not only the airport, but also the National Weather Service's office in Indianapolis. If you're ever traveling on the freeway there just south of the office, you can see their radar on the south side of the highway. And that is the National Weather Service in Indianapolis, Indiana. A good group of people there. Coming up here, northern Indiana. Storms just went over that office, the National Weather Service in North Webster, northern Indiana. Just sampled these winds as they moved off to the north and northeast, coming into LaGrange County, Ligonier, and Columbia City as well. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for winds up to 60 miles per hour, as well as torrential rainfall also occurring. I'm going to toggle that severe thunderstorm watch off just to make it look a little less messy. You see some isolated pockets of some stronger winds, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour, coming into Ligonier, Topeka, and just southwest of LaGrange. You can see a nice pocket of some stronger winds there as well. But our severe thunderstorm watch is being allowed to be trimmed back, which is some good news. Currently, the strongest portion of the line is northern Indiana. We did upgrade the wind risk a little bit just for higher confidence of winds up to 60 miles per hour north of US 24, perhaps a few pockets of stronger winds. And that's pretty much unfolding here today across northern Indiana. If you're up here, and actually I do want to mention this, for Grand Rapids, this is an EDS. This is an extremely dangerous situation warning. 80 mile per hour observed if you're in Michigan coming into the Grand Rapids area, coming right to the radar. I can't speak. I wanted to combine airport and radar together. It just doesn't mix. Those two words just don't go together. If you're in near Dorr coming into Grand Rapids, Michigan, this is an EDS, extremely dangerous situation. 80 mile per hour winds observed right in there. So a very strong pocket of wind. Thankfully, we don't have anything like that in Indiana right now. We did have a couple of considerable warnings up here along Lake Michigan, and that is part of that cell that jetted north towards Grand Rapids. That was in Chicago, Gary, and LaPorte earlier this afternoon, and that has then turned north, rapidly intensifying as it moves into the Grand Rapids area. EDS, you don't see EDSs very often. That's an extremely dangerous situation. That's a destructive severe thunderstorm warning as well for widespread significant wind damage, potentially impacting life and property. So thankfully we don't have any of those. All of ours are baseline winds up to 60 mile per hour winds. And some small hail. I don't think there's a lot of hail really in any of these storms. I haven't seen too many reports of hail, but I have seen a decent amount of wind reports of these winds mixing their way down to the ground. A couple of tree reports still coming in, some sporadic tree damage across the state here behind these storms, most of which is in northern Indiana. Gusty winds coming into LaGrange, Indiana. Nice pocket of winds there, perhaps gusting to 60 miles per hour. Huntington County, Indiana. If anybody's watching from like Wabash, North Manchester, I'd be curious to know how strong the winds were in that location there. They look to be perhaps baseline severe or just a little bit below severe criteria. I'd be curious to know how much is mixing down to the ground. Currently, the strongest winds do look to be in LaGrange County, just north of Topeka, coming near LaGrange, and even Howe, Indiana. Those look to be the strongest winds currently right now in the state of Indiana. Going back towards the Indianapolis area, you can see the gust front. I'll go ahead and move back down here for you. Right in here, gust front coming into the International Airport. Getting ready to go over the National Weather Service office as well, coming into the Speedway, Indiana area. So we're going to see what we're going to see, if we're going to see a downstream warning extension or if this warning is going to get replaced here. We're going to know real soon as we get samples of how strong the winds are. We're going to know just in a few moments here, in about 5 minutes, we're going to know how strong that storm is as it moves towards downtown Indianapolis. Moving back up here to the north, currently the strongest winds are right up in here, just north of the Emma area, Shipshewana just southeast of town, kind of splitting Shipshewana and LaGrange. Winds up to 60 miles per hour in that pocket there. So not everyone is going to see winds up to 60 miles per hour. 58 or greater is what we need for a severe thunderstorm warning. Seeing more reports of closer to 30 miles per hour versus 60 across the state as a whole, but there have been a few reports of severe criteria being met or exceeded here in Indiana today. So the risk is there. And just to our neighbors to the north here, an extremely dangerous situation for Grand Rapids. This is an EDS warning. The highest level of a severe thunderstorm warning and tag you could possibly get is an EDS destructive tag. This is an extremely dangerous situation with winds up to 80 miles per hour observed. That is a measured wind gust moving into the Kentwood and Grand Rapids area, just to our neighbors to the north. So significant wind ongoing to our neighbors to the north in Michigan. So if you have any friends or family up in the Grand Rapids area, going to be getting hits with some extremely strong wind gusts up there. Probably stay on here for a little bit longer yet. Currently our storms are more baseline severe, but we'll continue to track them here with you. Indianapolis starting to look like it's maybe perhaps a little bit below severe criteria coming into Indianapolis there. Have to see what the National Weather Service does there over the next few minutes here. If they continue that warning or have a special weather statement on that, or nothing. That'll be up to see how much winds truly did mix down to the ground. Currently, the strongest winds on radar are in northern Indiana. From the Albion, Indiana, up to LaGrange, Indiana, you can see the gust front right in there, just to the east of Ligonier. Coming into Albion, Indiana, you can see it move there, just update. Strong winds there, coming into right about 60 miles per hour at about 1,000 feet off the ground, just to the west of LaGrange, coming near Howe. I'm likely going to see some strong winds there. And right around 50, 55, so embedded pockets of winds, 50 plus, for areas just south near the Albion, Indiana area. So do watch out for that if you're on I-69 here in a little bit. Have to watch that line as it moves towards the I-69 corridor in northeast Indiana as well. And we have a special weather statement coming in. And that includes Tipton and Noble. Winds up to 40 miles per hour. And that includes Noblesville, Zionsville, Elwood, Tipton, Westfield, Cicero, Sheridan, Frankton, Arcadia, Atlanta, and Moores Reservoir. Winds up to 40 miles per hour, so below severe criteria up there for you guys in the blue shaded box. Nice pocket of strong winds here in LaGrange County moving towards Howe. Winds up to 60 miles per hour, measuring just over 60 miles, right around 60 miles per hour, 62.6 at about 1,000 feet off the ground. So likely going to see some wind gusts of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds mixing their way down the ground just west of LaGrange, perhaps coming into LaGrange, northern LaGrange, and Howe, Indiana, and northeast Indiana. if anybody's watching from like Huntington, Wabash County line or Whitley County, I'd be curious to know what the winds are doing, especially in Columbia City. If we have anybody watching from Columbia City, I'd love to know what the winds are doing there, and how strong those winds are. I'd be curious to know if they are at severe criteria, or not. And it looks like we do have maybe even a pole barn damaged here in northwest Indiana earlier today as well. Another special weather statement coming in. So there we go. So the National Weather Service did believe this storm is below severe criteria. Winds up to 50 to 55 miles per hour for Indianapolis. So that is no longer severe. Currently, the only severe thunderstorm warnings are in northern Indiana. Under a severe thunderstorm warning for LaGrange, Albion, Columbia City, even Huntington County is still in a severe thunderstorm warning, although it looks below severe criteria, if I'm being honest with you, for Huntington County. I'd be curious to know if anybody is watching from that area. Currently, the strongest winds are north of 24, kind of as expected here today, with the strongest winds currently moving into Grand Rapids, Michigan. We have an extremely dangerous situation warning up there. 80-mile-per-hour winds observed. That's an EDS warning, which is a step above a PDS warning, particularly dangerous situation. This is an extremely dangerous situation, so the highest level of warning you can possibly get on a severe thunderstorm warning up there. So very bad when you have 80-mile-per-hour winds moving through a metropolitan area. It's just a recipe for not a good situation. So probably a good idea to stay off the roads up there if you have any friends or family up in the Grand Rapids area until that storm has cleared. Probably stay on here for a few more minutes here to watch these storms. Probably getting pretty close to hopping off here for our severe weather coverage, as these storms are not overly impressive at the moment, largely thanks to a lack of wind shear here today. We have the moisture and instability, but without wind shear, it really limits the organization capability of these storms. And new severe thunderstorm warning. So they just issued a severe thunderstorm warning on top of the special weather statement. Okay. Back up to 60-mile-per-hour winds. So they put a special weather statement on it for 55 and then put a warning on it for 60. Radar indicated. Although I just kind of find that funny. So severe thunderstorm warning now for Lawrence, Greenfield, Anderson, Pendleton. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Currently, our gust front moving into the Kendallville area, LaGrange, Indiana, winds up to 60 mile per hour. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning now, including the Fort Wayne and Auburn area. Winds up to 60 miles per hour and penny-size hail. And that is for 1 hour until 3:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Moving east at 50 miles per hour does include all of Allen County, as well as DeKalb County. So Butler, Auburn, Leo, Cedarville, Fort Wayne, and Aboit under a severe thunderstorm warning. 60 mile per hour winds and penny-sized hail. Gust front still in Whitley County, as well as LaGrange County and points in between. Huntington County, that looks to be below severe criteria down there for you, but still could have some gusty winds. Still under the warning there, but I'm wondering if NWS is thinking the same thing without extending that warning into northern Wells County. Possibly thinking that's below severe criteria as well. The strongest winds, though, look to be from Columbia City and points north, I think north of US 30. Coming into Allen County. Winds up to 60 miles per hour in the Albion area. Just straight line winds, nothing tornadic up there. Same thing with Howe. Actually, some stronger winds, perhaps in the Howe area. But 50 to 60 mile per hour winds up here. In fact, we'll go ahead and get a measurement here. We're actually about 40 miles per hour at about 1,000 feet off the ground. Maybe a little bit stronger, mixing down at the surface, but yeah, strongest winds are actually up near Howe, where we're measuring about 60 miles per hour, but we're also higher up too. We're about 1,000 feet higher, at about 2,000 feet off the ground. In Albion and Kendallville, 45 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour. There could be a few isolated gusts mixing their way down to the ground, but doesn't look overly significant, which is good. Definitely enough to blow some loose objects around or blow some sticks down, that's for sure. Indianapolis, Indiana, under a severe thunderstorm warning up to 60 miles per hour. And it sounds like actually maybe even the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids actually maybe sustained a little bit of damage from the storms coming in. Sounds like maybe lost some shingles on the roof from what I'm hearing. So that's an EDS warning, extremely dangerous warning, severe thunderstorm warning. Observed 80 mile per hour winds in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's the highest warning you can get on a severe thunderstorm warning up there. So I expect to see quite a bit of damage reports coming in from the Grand Rapids area. So not a good situation up there. Thankfully, here in Indiana, we don't have anything that significant at this current moment. All of our severe thunderstorm warnings are baseline warnings. Winds up to 60 mile per hour winds. Currently, down south, I think we're going to see more sporadic gusts up to 60. I think most of us are going to see 45 to 55 with a few isolated pockets of 60. Coming into northern LaGrange County, just southeast of Sturgis, Michigan, there's a nice pocket there of winds where I expect 60 mile per hour winds to perhaps be mixing down to the ground. Now, we are a little bit higher. We are at about 2,000 feet off the ground versus 1,000 down here. So it could be a little bit less, but still getting a little bit stronger of a return up there. And a new special weather statement in for Indianapolis and south. Wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. And then Tipton, also in a special weather statement for storms that are below severe criteria. Yeah, right up in here, this is the strongest pocket of winds right now near Fawn River, northern LaGrange County. This is likely severe criteria right up in here. These winds here are strong, but I think widespread 60-mile-per-hour winds are low. I think there's a few pockets in there, but this is kind of what you're looking for when you're looking for severe criteria on winds. Brighter reflectivity. We are a little bit higher off the ground, but I think there's a better chance of winds making their way down to the ground. So Kendallville, 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Again, housekeeping rules, guys. That's just housekeeping rules. No all caps in the chat. That's just housekeeping stuff there. So apologize about that. But we do try to keep the chat clean for everyone, and that's just one of our policies. So please no all caps in the chat while we're live. But wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour coming into the Fort Wayne area, northern Allen County. Think like downtown and north, right where you see that nice bow echo there, Churubusco, Arcola, some stronger winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour. And the same thing into the Kendallville area, 50 to 60 mile per hour. Under a severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour. Huntington, I think you're below severe criteria. I think they're probably, I wouldn't be surprised to see that canceled early. I know it continues for another 26 minutes here, but I really don't see much in Huntington County. And I was wondering if we were going to get, looks like they just trimmed that warning back for LaGrange. And now, yeah. Looks like Angola is now under a severe thunderstorm warning, 60 mile per hour winds, and nickel size hail, a little bit larger hail up there. Still below severe criteria for the hail. That is for Steuben County, as well as Branch County in Michigan, including Coldwater. Michigan, nice pocket of winds right in here. Strongest winds are right in here near Fawn River, moving to the Bronson area and moving into Branch County, Michigan, towards the Coldwater, Michigan area. Angola, have to watch these winds back towards LaGrange and Kendallville coming into your direction there. 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Not everyone, I think, is going to see 60 mile per hour winds, but the potential is there for 50 to 60. And getting pretty close to about 70 mile per hour winds up here just north of the state line, coming near the Branch County, Michigan. May see a considerable warning get issued for Branch County if that continues, getting a nice pocket of returns there. Currently measuring about 70 miles per hour at about 2,500 feet off the ground. 73 miles per hour there at 2,500 feet off the ground. So definitely seeing some 60 mile per hour winds mixing down to the ground, more than likely there. Lesser reflectivity to the south, more baseline criteria here, 50 to 60 versus widespread 60. Tornado risk is very low. Personally, I don't expect any tornadoes from here on out today. That was really dependent on the evolution of these storms and how organized they were being able to get. But our lack of wind shear across Indiana is starting to affect these storms and limit how organized they're able to get. But currently, the strongest winds are actually just north of Indiana in Michigan at this current time. Still some gusty winds northeast Indiana. Allen County, DeKalb County have some stronger winds coming into you. Same thing, Steuben County here in a little bit. But the strongest winds up to the north coming into Branch County. Winds perhaps 60 plus up in here north of the Indiana state line in southern Michigan. But currently for Indiana, we look to be baseline severe, if not below severe criteria for most. We do have additional storms moving in later tonight, especially across southern Indiana. Severe weather not expected, but heavy rainfall is expected across southern Indiana here this evening. But these winds here look to be near or even slightly below severe criteria. There's some embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour, but not everyone is going to see that. The strongest winds look to be just north of the state line, right in here, coming into Branch County, Michigan, winds up to 60 plus miles per hour there, with some embedded pockets of winds 50 to 60 miles per hour. Think central and northern Allen County up into DeKalb County. Severe thunderstorm watches are still being trimmed back. Northwest Indiana, currently still in the clear. And it looks like near Rochester, Indiana, we have a pole barn that suffered some damage. Looks like maybe some roofing materials and maybe some siding blew off of a pole barn from earlier here today. And just west of Noblesville, north of Indianapolis, we actually have a measured wind gust up to 61 miles per hour. That was a mesonet at the Indianapolis Executive Airport, measured a wind gust of 61 miles per hour, likely prompting that severe thunderstorm warning. So there could be some stronger winds mixing their way down to the ground that are just not seen on radar. So do keep that in mind. But we are currently have baseline severe thunderstorm warnings for Northeast Indiana, as well as Indianapolis under a baseline severe thunderstorm warning, winds up to 60 miles per hour. Still not super impressive on radar. Maybe a little pocket of some winds there near the Paragon, Indiana area, west of Martinsville. Little pocket there. But winds up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the night here while we are waiting here. Go ahead and so here we are right about now. Scattered showers and thunderstorms moving across the state, and additional showers and thunderstorms expected across central Indiana and southern Indiana overnight tonight. Here we are tomorrow afternoon. Not a lot going out. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms possible, but we could have some redevelopment. Now, how strong these storms get tomorrow afternoon and evening will largely be determined by how much can we destabilize after overnight rain and morning cloud cover. Can we get rid of that stuff early to allow the atmosphere to recover and allow for storm organization? Otherwise, it's just going to be a warm and humid day with scattered showers and thunderstorms with a lower severe risk if we're not able to clear all of this rain and cloud cover from overnight storms. This is a decaying storm system overnight tonight. Not expected to really impact too much here in Indiana. But what it's going to leave behind is going to leave behind quite a bit of clouds. And that's not going to allow for destabilization to occur here in the state of Indiana. So that's something we're going to be looking at for tomorrow's risk. Storm Prediction Center has all of Indiana at a slight risk tomorrow for strong to severe thunderstorms, but that risk is going to be largely determined by cloud cover and morning rain. How fast can we get rid of that stuff to allow for the atmosphere to destabilize? Big question mark there for tomorrow. We'll be forecasting that here tonight and into tomorrow morning as we watch trends continue. Currently, these storms are not overly impressive. All radar indicated. Looking at storm reports, I haven't seen a storm report since Rochester, Indiana for northern Indiana, which is saying something as well. Still having some gusty winds where you see this little bow section here and a little bow section here. So there's pockets of embedded winds, perhaps 50 to 60 miles per hour. So something to keep in mind over the next few minutes here if these storms move into Ohio out of Indiana. Currently, baseline severe thunderstorm warnings here. Probably going to be on here for a couple more minutes here before we sign off and continue to watch trends here behind the scenes. If something goes considerable, we may go live here again. For right now, the remainder of the night, 50 to 60 mile per hour winds over the next hour or two, and then the severe weather risk should be over here for the day, ending a little bit earlier than expected. The line moved through a little bit earlier, a little bit ahead of schedule for today. Sometimes that happens. Strongest portion of the storm did appear to be in northern Indiana, north of US 24, and into Michigan. Michigan is really seeing it perform quite well. Considerable warnings and even an EDS warning being issued as well for 80 mile per hour winds near the Grand Rapids area as well. So with that being said, probably going to stay on here for a couple more minutes here before we sign off and watch trends here behind the scenes. Currently, just a few baseline severe thunderstorm warnings and some rain and a little bit of lightning. Flood risk, though, going to continue for central and southern Indiana. Multiple rounds of rain. Some areas could see 2 to 4 inches of rain by the time we get to tomorrow morning. And there's another extremely dangerous situation warning. This is their second EDS warning issued by Grand Rapids today. 80 mile per hour winds observed. Destructive warning going into Lansing, Michigan. So Michigan is just getting hammered here tonight, which is why we included them on the Risk 3 upgrade today for this possibility. Thankfully, it didn't materialize in Indiana. We had the potential for it in northern Indiana, north of 24, for some evaporative cooling enhanced straight line winds with some dry air aloft and a little bit better shear across Michigan and northern Indiana for some better organization. So thankfully, it didn't materialize in northern Indiana, but the potential was there for this exact scenario. So that is why we added a Risk 3 across northern Indiana and Michigan, was because of the potential for those pockets of extreme straight line winds. With that being said, probably going to go ahead and pop out of here. I think for the remainder of the night, over the next hour, could have winds 50 to up to 60 miles per hour. Not everyone is going to see that. And a flash flood risk I-70 endpoints southward overnight tonight and into tomorrow. So with that being said, probably going to go ahead and get ready to play the outro here. And we will continue to monitor things here behind the scenes. Give one more shout out to our sponsor of today's streams, Rooker's Outdoor Services, based in Indianapolis. 70 trees that could be problematic before the next storm hits. Give them a call, 317-665-3969.